The biggest change that occurred in my life, in my business, in my bank account is when I stopped focusing solely on the risk factor. I'm someone who's rooted in safety and security from my traumatic childhood, and I have PTSD and I have depression. So I'm always wanting to feel safe. I'm always looking for the risk, for the danger. So I'm naturally wired to do that, as are most people. But only fixating on the risk factor of doing something, of taking that action, of spending that money, of opening your heart, of being vulnerable, all those things, and not looking at the cost factor is what screws you. And when I started at least giving equal energy from looking at the risk factor and the cost factor, what will this cost me energetically, physically, spiritually, financially? If I don't do this thing, if I don't take the risk, if I don't go for it, if I continue staying where I'm at, if I continue accepting the status quo, if I continue to not grow, if I continue to stay stuck, what is that cost factor? Those answers and giving even equal attention to it changed everything in my life, because then I was able to make a real assessment and not be living in that fight, flight, or freeze in my brain and go, okay, logically, I do see the risks here, and I don't want the consequence of not taking the action. I'm not interested in the cost of not doing the thing. That's far greater than the risk of me doing it. And this is what's gotten me so far ahead and millions in the bank. And we're going to peel that back today in the fourth and final episode of this powerful mini series. I am unveiling for my first time ever the spending and saving hacks that have changed my life. If you're tired of hearing the same old basic mindset and motivational fluff talk, you've come to the right show. Welcome to Project Me with Tiffany Carter, the podcast, where we dish on everything from managing that crazy brain of yours to manifesting abundance to my straightforward, actionable steps that will make you major money online. Now, I'm not your typical multimillionaire entrepreneur. It takes a small village to keep my anxiety and depression in check. I'm inherently disorganized with an intense obsession with office supplies. Your girl here is a digital marketing content expert who's generated over $200 million in sales. I promise by tuning in twice a week, you will get a much needed refreshing dose of truth, clarity, and cash-making advice. Now let's get to it. What up, my people, my posse, my fellow crazies? It's your host, Tiffany Carter, and this is the show designed to help you grow your business, your bank account, your abundance mindset, and your relationships so that you can have your most exceptional life, because the most exceptional part of your life and project in your life is you. After coaching well over 150,000 people from all over the world, I've gathered a ton of clinical data on the human mind and human behaviors as it relates to money and success. What I found is people tend to resist adjusting their habits and actions around money for one of three reasons. One, they don't want to feel controlled. Two, they believe they'll have to sacrifice the things that give them pleasure, and who wants to do that? Three, they're stuck in doom thinking and don't believe it's possible for them to ever reach their goal, let alone getting ahead financially. So then why would they really do anything? I had the same resistances in all three areas, but I knew the benefit of becoming financially free. And I believed in the benefit of being financially free. So I said to myself, there's got to be another way to do this, a way that doesn't feel so sacrificing, so boring. I'm not going to break out an Excel spreadsheet or QuickBooks and start logging all my expenses and it's just not going to happen. And if I think I have to do that, then I'm going to be in resistance, then I'm going to be stuck, and then nothing's ever going to change. So that inner rebel I have is how most of my $1 million plans have started, because that inner rebel within me refuses to believe there isn't a different way, a better way, an easier way, a less painful way, a more efficient and effective way. And there is. So be prepared to have your money story change forever in this final part of the 4-part special mini series, Money Hacking for Multi-Passionate Business Owners. Now, before I get into the goods here, and we're getting into the weeds, these are actual tangible things that you can start implementing as soon as today and absolutely see a difference in your physical and mental money story that's going on. For my fellow procrastinators and last minute inspired action takers, literally, this is truly the final call for you to get into Selling with Soul. This is my signature 5-week program teaching you how to create, package, present, share, and sell your offers in any industry, any type of offer, physical product, digital product. You're a course creator, you have retreats, you have events, you have masterminds, whatever it may be. This is the course that is designed to teach you how to do that and how to sell through high ticket offers, mid ticket offers, low ticket offers, and get your audiences growing and excited and eager to buy from you and have you stand out in a highly saturated industry. This is it. I only offer this once a year. So the class of 2023, this is your last chance. And there are payment plans you can start for as low as $377. And I have a student, and it's a perfect example of what I'm teaching you today. She did exactly what I did when I didn't have mounds of cash just to spend and invest on things that I wanted to have. I used to make only $17,000 a year. And then I made, I think it was like 35, and then 48,000. And I think it was like 52 or 54, then 68. I didn't have the 17,000. And then 1 year later, I'm a millionaire, right? I'm more of a grower than a shower. And I think now, what am I? Now I'm a shower and a grower. So now we got both. Now I got the BDE. And if you know what I'm saying, I definitely have the big BDE. Like now I do. So this now Selling with Soul 2023 student, she really wanted to get in here. And instead of saying to me, which she could have and said to herself, oh, well, I can't do it. I'm not making enough. I don't have enough room on my credit cards to do it now. I guess I have to wait till next year. Woe is me. She asked herself, how can I make this work? How can I find the money or rearrange how I'm spending in my life in order to be able to pay for something that's only going to make me more money, which is the definition of an investment. So what she did is she looked at where she's spending money that aren't essentials. So she is someone who is a lover of having her nails done, as am I. And she was spending quite a pretty penny on getting those done every month. She was spending close to $150 to getting those done. So now she's going to do her own nails, which are at a fraction of the cost. She's going to make coffee at home instead of getting a coffee out every day, which is about $35 to $40 a week. And her just doing those two things. Oh, and she was getting her eyebrows tinted every month, and she's going to now tint her own brows. Things that she's now DIYing. Is that how you say it? DIYing, yeah. Those things, she now can make the payment plan, the 12 payment plan that I offer in Selling with Soul. So there's always a way to make it work. There's always things that you can move around. And sure, if you want to argue with me and be like, Tiffany, I live on a remote island off India, and with the conversion rate and blah, 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 like that's not even possible. There's exceptions to every rule. But in general, the reason I have decided to give these generous payment plans is because it takes away that excuse of there's no way I can make it work. I don't have enough room on my credit card, because I was once there and this is how I pay it forward. So let's get into, and you want to join Selling with Soul? It's right now or never. Like you're either I'm doing this damn thing, fuck it, or you're waiting till next year. And I'm not judging you either way, but this is it. You're not getting like another warning. This is D-Day, honey, meaning this is do it day or don't do it day. And the link is in the show notes. If you swipe up, projectmewithtiffany.com/selling with soul, projectmewithtiffany.com/selling with soul. So I have my own story when it comes to this, where I wanted to be able to increase my skill set in certain areas, learn how to do Facebook ads early on in my business, but I wasn't bringing in that much money in my business and I already had spent savings and I needed to keep like the savings cushion there in case my business didn't work, because I did not want to go back to corporate. And that's what made me feel safe. So what I did, so that you don't have to go into lack and you don't have to go into scarcity, because then you're going to resist doing things about money, like the thought of saving money, like that even sounds icky. It's not hot. It does not sound fun. And if it doesn't sound fun and it doesn't sound sexy and it doesn't sound hot, it's going to be really difficult for us to keep that up. So instead, I look at it like you're just going to shift some money around. Okay, that's all we're doing. We're shifting it around. We're borrowing some here and putting it here in order for us to be able to hit the grand goal. So I wanted to be able to really understand how to do Facebook ads. This is when they first started and Facebook was offering courses, and I could have attended this weekend thing. It was like $1,500. And I was like, I'm a coffee whore. And I had no business, nor did I need to, even though I could afford it, like spending between $5 and $7 a day on getting coffee, sometimes twice a day. So I was like, how about, and I used to be a barista at Starbucks, just so everyone knows, I've got that skill set. That's probably the only thing I can actually cook for you. And I could pour a glass of wine and maybe cut some cheese. That's all that's going to happen if you come over to my house. But I have a chef now, so we can work with that. So I started making my own coffee. If we add that up, $35, if we're saying it's $5 a day, which was really more than that, times 52 weeks, that was $1,820. Let's just say it's really more like $2,000 to $2,500 because there's tips and sometimes I would get a scone. So there you go. Me committing to making my coffee at home, even for a year, even not the whole year, paid for me to do that course. But once I started calculating that number, I went, I wonder where else I could shift money around that would bring more in. Because sometimes we're just in a habit or we've gotten lazy and we're spending money on shit that actually DIYing it or finding a different way or a different vendor or negotiating or even like releasing stuff. There's stuff that we like pay for that like we're not really even into that we can release. We just have like, we forget about it. It's not on top of mind. This creates more room for abundance. It's not even about saving. It's just shifting, and you taking this action is also telling the universe, I'm open for more abundance. I'm willing to move things around and get clearer on my priorities and getting more creative in generating more cash, because found cash is generating abundance. You can find cash and not be making $1 more this entire month. You have found cash in your life right now. I guarantee it. So another area, this is when I really, really had an extra love for like TJ Maxx. I mean, TJ Maxx, Marshalls. I mean, I probably fell in college, but then it really grew after that when I realized I can just do high-low shopping. While everyone was like busy getting True Religion and 7 Jeans and spending all this money, they weren't that important to me. And I respect that for some people, that was like a big deal and they really had to have those jeans. It wasn't that important to me. Now, it was important to me at that time to have a Coach bag because that's like what was popping. And so I could have the Coach bag because I was buying like no-name brands. So I would buy stuff from TJ Maxx, or I would buy stuff from like an Old Navy that wasn't branded as Old Navy. It wasn't like it was branded with some janky brand. It really was like an unknown brand or a European brand that no one knew in the States. And the stuff was still cute. And because I had cute sunglasses and that Coach bag, I was still popping. I still felt good about myself. I didn't feel like I was sacrificing. Yet I was saving so much money because when I was watching what my friends were buying and all the latest trends, and they were like wanting now a new wallet and like the new line of bag, and they were wanting to get these specific shoes and now another pair of 7 Jeans or Page denim or whatever. I wasn't doing that, and I was adding up how much money they were spending, and it comes out to a lot of money. It doesn't seem like it because there are these like one-off purchases, but it really does add up. Another way to find money is by doing the cool hack of using an incognito browser. And this is really important to do this for travel. And if you're like, what the hell is an incognito browser? Basically, it's a browser that hasn't stored all of your cookies and all of your searches. Like, you notice when even you start even talking in your house, like, I want to go on a trip to Hawaii. And then all of a sudden you get all these ads to Hawaii. Or you're starting to look at like hashtag accounts or different hotels on Instagram that you would want to stay at in Maui. And now all of a sudden you're getting Facebook ads from that hotel. That is all from cookies and shared data. So if you use an incognito browser, and you can just Google that, incognito Google browser, it'll come up, and it's like a fresh slate. So you go in there and then you go into the specific hotel. Then you go in there and go on TripAdvisor. Then you go in there on your particular airline or buying platforms. It sees you as fresh, and you're going to get that fresh pricing. When it sees that you're interested in going somewhere, and then you keep researching it, and then 2 days later you research it more, and 5 days later, it's seeing your desire level is so high, the price will keep going up. Now, sometimes they'll weave in, like you might get a flash deal or something, but usually the price goes up. The price goes up because you're making it very clear in the browser that your desire has gone up. So I've literally saved thousands of dollars by using an incognito browser, especially for travel. So just saying. Another way to save, you can shift it around, and instead of staying at like a hotel, you can stay at an Airbnb or a VRBO. You can stay at a different place, so you're not sacrificing luxury. In fact, you can often get more for your money. You can have a kitchen when you didn't have a kitchen before, and you're not paying all the resort fees. Isn't it funny how they'll be like, oh, the room's $500. And then you're like, that's a pretty good deal. That's a 5-star hotel. And then before you know it, the room's really like $697 a night because of resort fees. There's like country taxes, city taxes. It's like such a scam. So you can save money. You can find money by not sacrifice things that you love and the luxury by maybe looking and being open to staying at an Airbnb, VRBO, or there's other off brands of both of those. You can even find vacation rentals now on Zillow, another place where I've saved a ton of money. So I wanted you to hear these examples of if you want something, like I wanted that $1,500 weekend seminar, plus I had to pay for the flight and staying there. I think it was in San Francisco. I wanted that. I knew that was only going to make me more money in my business, which that's made me, oh my God, that's at least made me $2 million for sure by doing that weekend program that I did back then. And I was able to pay it. It might not have been, oh, the money's here tomorrow. But I knew by me committing to shifting my spending, the money would be there. It was a no-brainer because the thing I wanted to spend my money on was going to yield a return. And looking back at what I said at the top of the show, looking at what my cost factor was of not learning how to do the Facebook ads and not going to this weekend seminar. The cost factor would be that I would not be able to add this service for my clients. So that'd be missed revenue. It would be total frustration and tons of hours and time and wasted money and trial and error and me trying to figure out and learn how to do this damn thing on my own. Why would I have done that? It wouldn't have made any sense. But if you don't pause and take time to set your resistance to taking the risk aside and really assessing the cost factor of not doing something, of not investing, of not growing, of not learning the thing, of not going on the trip, of not doing it, you're really screwing yourself. Now, if you're like, Tiffany, I'm not wanting to invest anything, or I'm not like looking to buy a house or a rental property or whatever, I have none of that going on right now. Okay, that's fine. You don't have to have any big like purchase or investment that's on your mind. Although if you practice what I teach, you should always have investment opportunities on your mind in order to grow your wealth and your net worth, in order to get more freedom of time. But you can look at things like this. Okay, where else can I shift? Is it that I really hate being the mommy line cook at night? I don't like cooking. I don't want to do this. I want to have meals delivered by like a chef service, or I want to hire a local culinary student to drop off meals, or I want to hire someone to come in and at least once a week cook meals. How can I make this work? Maybe it's that you commit that breakfast and lunches are always in. That's how I have a chef now. Could I afford to hire a chef on top of everything else and have those meals delivered to me? Absolutely. But I don't like wasting money or not being a good steward of my money. I first at least look, how can I shift things around to where it's even a net neutral? Like, I'm not going out of pocket any further to have this added thing in my life that's going to delight me and save me time and be healthier for my body. I can at least be net neutral, and I've committed that, like, I'd say 90% of the time, breakfast and lunch is at home, and snacks for the most part, 90% of the time. Me committing to that easily, and me not ordering DoorDash, easily justifies and pays and actually saves me money by having a chef do like nutritious, healthy meals for myself. So there's always a way to be able to get what you want. You want more vacations in the year? Where else can you shift to have that happen? This doesn't mean you don't look for other areas to generate more revenue into your business and life. Of course, that fresh income, that's another area. That'd be like selling with soul, right? I invest in this and I follow through and I do my part. I'm going to generate more cash and more money, which then can get me those extra trips per year. That's going to be able to afford me weekly massages. But even if you don't do any of that, you can shift around with what you currently have. So when I was 25 years old, that is when I hired Jackie, my house manager. That sounds crazy now, like it was like 25, 26. Who does that? I was in pharmaceutical sales. I had a friend of mine who was a few years older, was very successful, and she had a cleaning person. She had a house manager, and I thought it was nuts. But she was kind of crazy, kind of like bougie LA girl. And I was like, I was like, is she just wasting money? And I finally asked her, I was like, what is this all about? And I go, and you're living in an apartment. It's not like you have a big place. And she said the time it would take me to do my laundry, the bedding, clean the house, I could be out in the field selling and making more money, or doing something that I enjoy that replenishes my energy, that makes me feel good, which in turn will only make me more money because I'll be more rested and more energized when I go in the field. And I was like, oh my God, that just clicked and made so much sense to me. So I started interviewing people, and I've never gone back because it just makes me feel good. And how did I pay that additional expense without going out of pocket more? Sometimes you are going to have to go out of pocket more in order to get something, because that return on that investment is so big. So in this case, I didn't have really anything I could see that I could shift around because I'd already done so much of it. So it was going to be an additional expense for me to do that. But it wasn't that much money. I mean, it was like $300 a month, but that was a lot of money to me at that time. But what did that $300 a month give me? It gave me hours and hours of time back, which you can't buy back time, but this is like a hack to buying back time. This is the only way to do it. And it gave me energy, because who doesn't love walking into a fresh, clean house? It made me feel more organized, more put together. And therefore, I could do exactly what my friend at the time said. I could spend more time nurturing relationships with clients, therefore making more money. I could spend more time on my own personal development, or at the gym, or hanging out in the steam room or whatever, which made me feel better, gave me more life force, which in turn made me more magnetic to my ideal clients. And it did. And this is why it's a non-negotiable, and I'll never not have it. And so it paid for itself many times over. It might not be obvious in the moment, but you've got to look at it in the even near long term, a year out. How does that look, and play it out instead of looking at everything being so immediate right now. I hope this gave you a look at how to move and shift your money around differently. You have these game pieces, you have a chessboard. Just move and shift things and take a different look. Assess that risk and that cost factor. Look at both of those things. See, where can I move this piece in order to get more of this piece? Can I call my cable company or my phone company and negotiate? Yes, you can. Yeah. Is it kind of annoying to make those phone calls? Is it very adulty? Sure. Is it worth it? Yes. Having a CPA and a higher level accountant who understands business, do they cost more? Yes. Do they save you more in taxes? If they're that good, absolutely yes. It's a no-brainer. Does it involve some of your time in calling and researching and finding the right people? Yes. But will that pay you in dividends for years and years and years to come? Absolutely. If you love this 4-part series, go leave a written podcast review on Apple Podcasts. This is in celebration for our 500th episode. If you don't want to even take the time to do that, which kind of sucks, and that makes me sad, but you can just tap the 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, or if you're a Spotify listener, just tap the 5 stars there. But if you really want to show your love and appreciation for the show, leave a written review on Apple Podcasts, put in your name or Instagram handle in the review, take a screenshot, DM it to me, and I'm giving away, in celebration for our 500th episode, something special to everyone who has left a review. You're going to get a special surprise from me. And again, Selling with Soul, literally, this is it. This is D-Day. This is decision time. You're not going to hear about this again from me for an entire year. This is your chance. Swipe up. The link's right there in the show notes, or go to projectmewithtiffany.com/selling with soul. If you want to make something work and you want what you say you want, there's always a way to shift things around in order for you to have the abundance that you want in your life. Wishing you great health, wealth, and worth as always. Love you. If you enjoyed this podcast, please write a 5-star review on iTunes. Not only will this make me super happy, but it will allow more listeners to find our special show. Simply help me help others.